Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is She's Unknown, but you can call me Unknown for short. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys a story about a real scary experience that I had when I was a little bit younger. So if you scare pretty easily, I suggest that you click off this video because this is going to be more on the horror side of things. I just want to remind you guys that I'm pretty new to all of this, so no hateful comments on any of my videos please. This is a true story that I'm telling you today. Nothing is made up. If I went back to talk to the people that were involved in all of this, they would pretty much tell you the same story. And one last thing before I continue on with the story, if you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to keep up to date with anything that I post later on in the future, hit the subscribe button. Comments are welcome down below as well. So the story starts off, I used to live in Darwin, Northern Territory, Australia. Myself, my sister, my brother, his friend, and my best friend decided that we would spend the night talking on the back fence. I actually wasn't sitting on the back fence, I was sitting on the pathway on the ground behind the fence. So while we were sitting there telling each other ghost stories to scare each other, I turned around and I noticed that from the darkness there was a woman walking towards us with long black or brown looking hair that covered her face, and she was dressed in a white dress. Now she came from the dark bush area of the suburb where I lived, so no one even knew that she was coming until we looked around. We could not hear any footsteps on the pavement or anything. There was just nothing. She was quiet. I kind of looked back at the others to see if they saw the same thing that I was looking at, and the woman ended up walking straight past me. Now on her back it looked like her dress was covered in blood, but I couldn't exactly tell because it was a little bit too dark. So she walked a little bit ahead of me, and the whole time she didn't even look up, she just stared at the ground. Her hair was covering her face, and I decided that I would be polite and ask her if she needed any help. But the whole time again she just looked at the ground and she said, "It's not safe out here, get inside." And I said, "What do you mean? Do you need me to go and call someone? Like, I can go get my parents and maybe we can call someone to help you." And she just continued to repeat, "It's not safe here, go inside." And then I didn't say anything. I just let her go. And then she just kind of started walking again, like staggering her way forward on the path behind the trees. And then we noticed a couple of cars coming around and circling. And every single time a car would come past, she would hide behind the tree. Like, she would crouch behind this tree and just hide out of sight. Because it was dark already, so the shadows was like keeping her hidden. And then she got up again and continued to walk once more. And then once this green ute that had circled around a couple of times had come past again and then turned the corner and was kind of out of sight, she hid behind the tree. And then once she couldn't see it anymore, she sprinted. And I mean she sprinted. She didn't run, she didn't jog, she sprinted across the road, across the dirt, across the really, really sharp rocks on the dirt. And I know because I've walked on those rocks plenty of times before. And she went straight down a street into the middle of like nowhere. It was just completely pitch black. So my brother and my sister thought, okay, let's go down there. And then my friend tagged along and they went to go and look for her. And I stayed back with my brother's friend. And I kind of just questioned what had just happened. And by this time I had run around into the gate, like into our house, and sat with him and just again questioned everything that we had just noticed. It was about maybe 5-10 minutes later that my brother, my sister and my friend had come back from trying to look for her. I said, "Did you find her?" And they said she completely disappeared. Like, she was there 1 second and then she was just gone the next. She was just nowhere to be found. And I said, "This is really, really weird. I think maybe we should go and tell like our parents because this is freaking me out." And my brother's friend said, "No, we'll just wait 5 minutes and then see what happens." And as soon as he said that, as soon as he finished saying that line, we heard the most terrifying woman scream ever. Like, this was ear piercing, and it was coming from the direction that she had actually run off to. So I said to everyone, "Nope, we're going to go tell our parents right now, like we have to, there is something wrong." So we ran inside and we were all freaking out. We were trying to tell my mum, oh my god, we'd just seen this woman. She ran off into the darkness, and my mum just looked at us as if we were all crazy. But then we finally convinced her to come with us so that we could go for a drive to see if we could see her. Once we were in the car, we drove around the area and everything was just so dark. It was just pitch black. And we saw some headlights in front of us and then noticed it was the police, and they had their spotlight on and they were searching the grass area, which was completely black. There was no streetlights, no nothing. And they pulled up next to us and they kind of said, oh, what are you guys doing out here? And my mum explained to them, the kids saw this woman. She ended up running down here and then they heard her screaming. So that's why we're coming here to have a look to see if we could find her. And the police, they just looked at my mum and they were like, oh, so you heard her as well? Because we've had multiple reports saying that there was a woman screaming behind the houses, and that's why we're here having a look to see if we could find her. So they went off and they said, oh, just be careful. And they went off to go and have a look to see if they could find her in the dark area with their floodlights on. And to this day, I don't even think that they ever found her, because we came back and they were still searching. It had been like maybe half an hour by this time. We have no idea who she was, where she was going, what had happened, and we weren't the only ones that night that had heard her, but we were probably the only ones that night who had actually seen her. I would hate to believe that myself and the others were the last people that saw her maybe alive. I hate thinking that maybe this person really needed our help and there was something that we could have done to actually, help her and save her if something bad really happened. But I think the thing that's most eerie about the whole situation is that we don't know who she is. We don't know where she came from. We don't know the whole entire situation. And I hate to say it out loud, but I don't even know if she was a real person. The time that I spoke to her, she was very quiet. The whole time she looked at the ground. She never even looked up at us, so I don't even know if I could see a face on her. Again, that's what scares me, is that, did I speak to a ghost, or did I speak to a real person? I really hope that this wasn't a case of domestic violence, and that time that we had spoken to her was the time that she was courageous enough to leave the house and leave her partner. Because, like I said, there was a car, like a green ute, that was constantly circling around the area, and that's what she was hiding from, you could tell. Just the thought of her screaming really loud still sends shivers down my spine. It is something that I don't know if I'll ever experience ever again, but I don't think I ever want to experience ever again. I really hope that her scream was not her partner coming back to shove her in the car and take her to go and be abused again, if that was the case. I really hope that now she is still alive and that she's living the best possible life that she could possibly live, and that she's away from all the harm. I question if it was blood on the back of her. Could there have been anything that I had have done? If I had have done anything, was I going to be in danger? From the time that this had all happened to now, nothing bad has happened to me. I've never spoken to anyone else about this. I haven't ever gotten a call from the police or anything. I've never had some guy turn up at my house or woman turn up at my house and talk to me about the whole situation and maybe get super angry at me for talking to their partner at that time. Domestic violence isn't anything new. People go through this all the time, unfortunately, and it's not so easy to just get up and leave the situation. People a lot of the time don't remember that it's not just as easy as getting up and leaving, because they're scared that things will happen and that they're going to get repercussions for getting up and going. I do encourage people who are going through domestic violence to seek help whenever they can. There are pretty good websites that you can go to, just need to Google them. There are also numbers that you can call for people that will help you. The police will definitely help you as well. You are not alone in this world. There are people that want to help you, and there are people that will help you. Thank you so much for coming to listen to my story. This is something that I haven't really spoken to anyone about ever before, so this is kind of like the first time this is being put out there in the open. I'm not asking for people to believe me. I'm just putting out a scary story for people who are interested in horror content, and this is what I'm aiming to do, is produce more content which is more on the horror side. Not only will I be trying to upload some horror content to YouTube, I'll also be putting it on TikTok for people to have a look at, just maybe for a shortened version of the story. YouTube is where you'll find the extended version of the stories that I say. I will also be diving into gaming because I've always had a passion for gaming as well. Once again, thank you so much for being here and watching the video. If you liked it, hit the like. If you want to subscribe. I'm not forcing you to do anything. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.